Hello, I'm Joshua Farnsworth, and welcome to my traditional woodworking school here in Earlysville, Virginia. In this video, one of our woodworking instructors, Will Myers, will show how to use a Spokeshave to shape some table legs on a shaker candle stand. In the last video, Will showed how to cut out the table legs out of this beautiful cherry board. So in this one, he'll show how to refine it.
Okay, I have the turning finished up here, and I put one leg in. We've got to do this to all three, but what we need to do is, if you look on this one here, the tops of these legs are flush with the turning. Some of the plans in some of the books that I was talking about earlier that are pretty wrong, you know, show coming out and being a little projection here, or a little, you know, rounded top, but they're not. They're flush with the turning and kind of just flow right into it. So that's what we need to do now. And plus the top is rounded just a little bit to kind of follow that, and that little rounded part goes all the way down. It's not rounded a tremendous amount. It's when we were looking at the original Hancock, they really, until you get close to it, it looks like the top's almost flat. So, and plus we've got to do the taper down here at the toe as well on the very, very end. So I've just got this one clamped up. And of course you need to do this to all three. But just take, be sure it's all the way down and as tight as it can be, and just trace off of the spindle onto the top of the leg. And then so now you can see we have a line right here, and we're going to take and shave this down until that line just disappears. Once the line disappears, then we will start to bring that rounded portion on down the legs. So try to keep this where you can see it. And here I'm just going to use this kind of big shave that takes a pretty heavy cut, and just start bringing it down. And you want to kind of blend this a little bit as you go down. You don't want to just sit here and do that and take you'll make a big divot in the top of the leg. You'll see it. So just kind of bring it down to that line. And you see I'm almost there already. And you kind of got to be careful and just let the iron just catch on top and go down. Try not to round it. So you see I'm already where I need to be on this side. Okay, now I'm going to fill it and make sure I haven't made a bump here. It's pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and I just eyeball this. I'll make a couple of facets on either side. You can kind of see I've made two little flats there on either side. And then just lightly come up to it. And of course, just like when we were kind of roughing the shape of the leg out, feel of it and see if you feel any bumps. So that's pretty good there. Now I'm going to take my iron shave, which is set much finer. And just kind of ease those facets off. The cutters, the irons on these shaves are pretty much flat, so every time you make a cut, you make a little flat. So we want to get those as small as possible. The one at Hancock, I'm really not sure how the tops were just perfectly round. I mean, I could feel or see no facets in them. They really, really nice work. Okay, and then last, take the just a card scraper and just lightly, it's easy to dig in on this edge, but just lightly make a few passes and kind of ease those facets even more until it's, you know, you feel it's nice and smooth and round. And this shape actually changed a little bit as it flowed down the leg. On the one at Hancock, it was, of course, the radius of the turning, but it actually flattened out a little bit as it went down. It looked to me like. So now I've gone as far as I can that way. I'm going to turn the leg around and just do exactly the same thing coming on down here. You have to be a little bit careful when you get down here to this end grain with this. This shave is pretty coarse. You don't want to chip the end of the leg off at this point. Okay, so now we're going to come back off of those first two facets and just ease it over. And I'm going to go ahead and switch to my iron shave here. And the iron one I can, which is just because it's set finer, you kind of skew it and go right off the end there and get the whole thing. And just like I've said all along, just use your fingers. A lot of times, at least me anyway, I can feel it, a low spot or hump better than I can see it at this stage. So that's pretty good there. Just make sure it flows and it's smooth. And here again, just take your scraper. And ease those facets off just best you can. And the smoother you can get this with the shaves and the scraper, the better. I actually will hit this with a little bit of sandpaper in just a minute, but it pretty much removes any of the little facets around that would be there. I don't like sanding, so the better job you can do here, it just takes just a couple of minutes to do the sanding. Okay. So next thing up, we've got our round profile cut. We've got our smoothing done all the way down the leg, and we've got it's just kind of round, a little bit rounded all the way down. Last thing is this little part that I knew it was there. I'd seen it in the photos, but other folks that's built this table before, nobody's ever mentioned it. And it's this little where the toe comes down and is shaved down on the sides here as well. So it comes down. It's only 3/8 wide by 5/8. It's just a tiny little end on that kind of little spider leg. So, it's a good little detail. The first couple I made, I didn't even attempt this. I thought that'd break off, it won't work. So finally, like the third one, I decided I would try it. And it's funny, it adds a detail that most people don't immediately see when they look at the table. But for me, when I look back at the ones where it hasn't been done, it's very noticeable. It's kind of the story of this whole table. It's the little details that seem to make it. So to do that, I've already shaped this one so you could see it, but come up on the turn. I don't know, just up about in here somewhere. And I'll make a mark across all 3 of my legs. Something like that. Okay. Bring that down the side. And this just doesn't have to be anything square or particularly straight, just so you have a good idea where to start. And you clamp the leg up. Well, I need to lay out one more spot here. I'm about to forget. On the very end, like I said, we need to leave about 3/8. So use the Anderson digital marking device here. Just my finger and a pencil. And leave about 3/8 there in the middle. So now you can just take and take your shave and just kind of taper this away. And sometimes I go backwards right here to begin with. I don't want to chip the end of this leg off. Which is, we're going against the grain here pretty good, but we're pushing back. Switch, try that one. Yeah, that's a little better. And right now, what I'm doing is hogging off as much as that waist as I can. Now I'm going to feather it on back to our layout line down up there where we want this to kind of flatten back out into the leg. And this is just pretty much a flat. It can be a little rounded, you know, out if you want it to be. So now I'm just blending it kind of back up. Now I'll go back to my a little bit finer flat shave here. And here again, you can kind of skew it. And don't get too aggressive pulling. You could possibly break the end of this off. To be honest, the first one I did, I thought it'll break before I ever get it made, but unless this one breaks, I haven't broken one yet. Just kind of ease it down, and that looks real good. Same thing on the other side. And really, when you look at it, you are tapering it down, making this center, but really this last little bit is the only part that's really, really thin. It flares back up into the full size fairly quick. So as far as making it much weaker, I don't think it's I mean, the originals have lasted, you know. So apparently it works. And here's the same thing as the other side. We're just bringing it down to our layout line. And this is all, doesn't have to be just perfectly exact, any of this. You know, a minute difference nobody can see, so. And just kind of carefully bring that last of that down. So that's pretty good there. I'm down to my layout line, and you can kind of see how it tapers up from regular. So one other little thing I wanted to mention on this taper, I found a photo of one of these tables that was at a auction site, and the ends were not tapered in this direction. So, and it shape-wise and proportion-wise, it looked like the one at Hancock or some of the others I've seen. So, so technically, I mean, it's I guess you'd be right either way to do it. So, you know, to do it or not on this part. But anyway, I think it definitely is a nice little detail to add to the table. So with that done, the last thing we need to do is move down here to the tail vise. We're going to plane these sides and get the humps and bumps where from clamping it up and everything cleaned up, and then the legs will be done. We'll be ready to assemble. I've moved down to the tail vise end of the bench here, and we're going to plane the faces of these legs. They're a little bit rough from being clamped up, and then down here where we used a Spokeshave to shape this, we'll flatten that out just a little bit. And to do that, simplest thing, I just took a couple of you know, the wooden dogs like I normally use, and just cut little 45 in them. And you have to be careful clamping these legs. They're pretty delicate, you know. You don't want to, and you don't want to break one at this point. So. But right here on this end is a little bit, you've got that taper, so we're going to use a little shim underneath that. We're going to plane this end first, and then we'll come back and plane the rest of it here. So just as little pressure, just kind of keep it sandwiched between those dogs. And just going to use just a regular old block plane and clean this up just a little bit. Kind of flatten that face out there that we shaped with a Spokeshave. And now I'm going to actually take my shim out, and I'm going to come back here on the flat part. And we're just going to clean up any tool marks or just, you know, damage from being clamped up. That's really about it there. And you may want to kind of easily, roll that over just a little bit. Same thing on the other side. In fact, I'm probably going to have to turn this one around in a minute. I think the grain is going the other direction. But we'll go ahead and do the end here. But the main thing is just be careful clamping one end ways like this. It would not be hard to damage it or break it. Okay. Same thing as the other side. We're just going to, I do need to go the other way. Just gently clamp it. You really don't have to put much pressure if you got the dogs cut like that. It just kind of sits in between them. And this is the quick way to clean them up too. There we go. That's about it. Last thing that I mentioned that on the ones at Hancock, you really couldn't feel or see any facets, and these are almost round. I mean, you really could go with where we're at right now. But generally, I just go ahead and take a little bit of start with 220 or something, and then finish with like 320. But just that kind of removes the last of the facets that might be left from the shaping process. And be careful and not round this end over. Let the sandpaper and you see right there, just couple of minutes here. That's pretty much sanded. On the bottom side, I usually sand right through here. The rest of it you can't see, but just in case there's any fuzz or anything left there. And then one other thing, I usually just kind of ease these corners off and just not really make a flat or anything there. Just at this point, this is just about a knife edge right here, and it's just aching to be knocked off. So just kind of ease that off. Same thing on the bottom. And that's it. Just come back and hit it with the little bit finer sandpaper. And that way the legs, once you're assembled, they're ready for finish, because the spindle at this point is finished. And so you really don't have any more prep work after you get it assembled. You're ready to, all this will be ready for finish. So do that on all 3 legs. Then we're going to be ready to assemble these, and we'll move on, get the top and all those couple parts that's left finished up.
If you're interested in learning traditional woodworking, come take a class at our school in Earlysville, Virginia. You can also visit our website at WoodAndShop.com, where you'll find a bunch of free woodworking lessons, workshop tours, and our very popular tool buying guides. And make sure you subscribe to our free newsletter to get our latest articles and videos. Enjoy!